And we begin with that breaking news as we come on the air tonight. A jury finding former President Donald Trump guilty on all 34 counts against him in his hush money trial. Thank you so much for joining us at 6. I'm Carolyn Clifford.
And I'm Mike Duffy. The 12-person jury in New York determining that Trump participated in a scheme aimed at suppressing stories he feared could be harmful to his 2016 presidential run.
This was a disgrace. This was a rigged trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace. They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
That was former President Donald Trump reacting after the verdict was read. All 34 counts are felony counts related to accusations arising from reimbursements paid to then Trump lawyer Michael Cohen. This after he made a $130,000 hush money payment to adult film actor Stormy Daniels to silence her claims that she and Trump had sex back in 2006.
Let's go live right now to 7 News Detroit reporter Brett Cast.
He is in Warren getting reaction to this verdict, and it is certainly an historic one today. Brett?
It absolutely is, Carolyn. And Macomb County had, for the last 8 years or so, has been a strong Trump county. Back in 2016, he won this county by 11 percentage points, 8 percentage points when he ran for re-election in 2020. So we decided to head here to Macomb County to hear from some voters. We did meet a lot of people who are adamantly opposed to Trump. We met some people who are supportive of Trump. But one thing we noticed about this verdict, many people have been following the trial, but they say their mind was made up even before this trial began. What was your reaction to hearing now he's guilty on all 34 counts?
Woo! Yes! I mean, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, no, it's garbage. That's what I think it is. I think it's set up by the Democratic Party to persecute a candidate that they know has the ability to beat them.
Well, I think it was the facts. They got him, the paperwork, the checks, that's the evidence.
Yes, so not all of those people that we interviewed were here in Warren in Macomb County, but not everyone lives here in Macomb County. But those we spoke to all say, their mind has kind of been made up before this verdict was announced. So depending on where they lean, that's how they felt about this verdict. But everyone we asked said they do not think and really don't even hope that Trump will see prison time from this verdict here today. But for now, live in Warren, I'm Brett Cast, 7 News Detroit.
Okay, Brett, a lot of mixed reactions, and we know that you're staying on top of this evening. Thank you.
Well, we are joined now by a legal analyst to weigh in on this historic verdict. Former President Donald Trump, of course, found guilty on all 34 felony charges today. Stephen Winter, a professor of constitutional law at Wayne State University, is joining us now. Thank you so much, Stephen, for your time. Are you surprised the former president was found guilty on all 34 felony counts?
Actually, I'm not. I'm not the least surprised. I've been watching the news reports and following the trial, and I think the prosecution, did a very professional job and a sophisticated job. I don't think the defense matched the prosecution. I think the judge ran a very tight ship and did an incredibly professional job. And no, I'm actually not surprised at all.
Tell me what was key in this trial for you. I know yesterday, 4 hours into deliberations, the jury wanted to look back on testimony from David Pecker and Michael Cohen meeting at Trump Tower with the former president. I mean, when you heard them ask about that evidence, was that the tipping point?
That was not surprising that they would ask to hear some evidence again and hear the charges again. That's common. It was a complex enough case. I agree with you that the tipping point really was the Pecker testimony about the meeting, and that came early in the trial, of course, and that was, I think, the key to the prosecution's case. And I think it was very shrewd of them to put Pecker on first and Michael Cohen last. And conversely, I think it was just a total mistake on the Trump defense team to deny the undeniable. To claim nothing happened and he never met Stormy Daniels. It's the typical Trump strategy, but it's a terrible strategy with the jury because the jury hears the evidence directly and when you deny what they know to be true, then you're not helping your case. I mean,
And Stormy Daniels went on and on and on when she was on the witness stand. So what happens from here? Can the former president appeal this historic verdict, or?
Yeah, there will certainly be an appeal. I think there's some viable issues for him on appeal, particularly the statute has a fair amount of technicalities to it. And some of those technicalities give him a reasonable chance on appeal. The judge, his repeated claims the judge is conflicted, that's just nonsense. That's fluff. So the stuff that most people have heard about, it's not going to be the basis for the appeal. It's going to be the technical legal issues here.
7 men and 5 women made up this jury, including 2 attorneys, a teacher, 2 immigrants, a jury made up of people from the New York area. What did you think of this jury? I know the former president was complaining, but what did you think of the makeup of the jury?
So I think it was from what we can tell, a fairly sophisticated jury. For me, I'd say the most interesting thing was the New York Times ran an article early on after the jury was selected about where the jurors got their news. And the vast majority of them got their news from some reputable sources, not TikTok or Twitter, or now known as X, etc. So these were, thoughtful people who were relatively well informed. From what I can tell, the kind of people you'd want on a jury. Right. I want to squeeze this in case we run out of time. It's a sad day for America. It's an historic day, but it's also a great day for the Constitution, for democracy. The idea that 12, sorry, I actually get emotional about this. 12 ordinary citizens get to decide whether someone has broken the law. That only happens here, and that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel sad and emotional on a day like this that is certainly historic here in America. Stephen Winter, thank you so much for your time and your legal expertise today. We certainly appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, joining us now, Ken Coleman, a political science professor at the University of Michigan, joining us on the phone. And Ken, let's talk about the political implications from this verdict. What's your reaction first?
Well, this momentous event is certainly a pivotal moment in this election and in this in the campaigns of both of the major candidates. I can't imagine that this is going to do anything but hurt Donald Trump's campaign. It will embolden his hardcore supporters. It'll, the Republican Party will do what they can to frame this in a way that limits the damage. They'll frame the trial as corrupt and the judge is biased, and we'll hear that a lot, and that's what they have to do. That's not surprising. But you really need to focus on a set of voters that are going to determine this election, and the set of voters that maybe don't like either candidate. There's a lot of them that don't like either candidate. They're conflicted, but they're habitual voters. They vote in every election, and we'll see how this cuts. But I can't imagine that that's going to help Donald Trump, and it seems likely it'll hurt him with that kind of voter. And then you got to focus on voters that are not habitual voters, but may or may not turn out in elections. I can't imagine that this is going to increase their enthusiasm for voting for Donald Trump. So it's, it's hard to conclude anything other than this is a damaging day for Donald Trump's campaign. It's anybody's guess where this will land in November, but for the moment, it's very damaging.
Okay, Ken, well, we sure do appreciate your expertise on this. And of course, there's going to be a lot more questions in the days to come, so we'll definitely be checking back in with you. Thanks for your time.
All right, we are going to continue to follow this historic day and, of course, the verdict that came down on former President Donald Trump guilty on 34 felony counts. We will continue to cover it throughout the day and night.